Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is May 29th of 2026. So based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to neutralize U.S. President Donald J. Trump in some form or fashion by the date of June 14th of 2026, specifically to spawn the presidency of one J.D. Vance. The date of June 14th of 2026 coincidentally marks the 80th birthday of Donald J. Trump, and his birthday coincidentally coincides with the UFC Freedom 250, which is a mixed martial arts event that is going to be hosted on the White House lawn in Washington, D.C. And this date is key because this UFC fight, which is going to be possibly the single most watched sporting event in the entire history of the world, is going to be live streamed all over the world, and is going to serve as a de facto coronation or inauguration of J.D. Vance. That is to say that J.D. Vance will be flanked by numerous celebrities, numerous politicians, and he will basically be given a welcome to the presidency at this event after Trump's demise in some form or fashion. Exactly when this event is going to transpire prior to the date of June 14th is obviously not known, but one date in particular stands out, and that is June 3rd, which is Game 1 of the NBA Finals, which is featuring the New York Knicks playing either the Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs at Madison Square Garden in New York City. And Donald J. Trump, being a longtime Knicks fan, is going to be hosting Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, and then they are going to be attending this game together. And as I've stated in numerous videos, it's highly likely that the terrorist faction that is Benjamin Netanyahu and his cohorts from Shin Bet, Mossad, etc., are going to be the ones that are going to actually murder U.S. President Donald J. Trump. That being said, it could come before that or it could come after that in some form or fashion, but that is one date in particular that is blinking red. So exactly how the CIA plans to terminate U.S. President Donald J. Trump prior to his 80th birthday and UFC Freedom 250 in Washington, D.C. on June 14th of 2026 is obviously not known, but there's the high possibility that one or more of the following scenarios transpires in the next 16 days. Donald J. Trump could be arrested for crimes he did not commit, possibly in respect to the Epstein files, Russiagate, January 6th, the Georgia election scandal, the Arizona election scandal, or other potential scenarios. And then, of course, he would be subsequently assassinated in custody prior to ever standing trial for whatever crime he is arrested for. And the most likely scenarios once he is incarcerated is that he dies of some sort of self-inflicted suicide, some sort of medical-related event, some sort of injury suffered with an alleged physical assault targeting law enforcement, or under the guise of natural causes. Of course, an assassination is always a realistic possibility. In the last 2 weeks alone, there's been 2 different attempts on Trump's life, one at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and one where a man attempted to breach the security perimeter at the White House. So obviously China, Iran, Pakistan, Russia, and Islamic terror groups such as Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the Taliban, etc., would likely be scapegoated. There have been a number of Trump assassination events prior to this last few weeks. Obviously, the one at Coachella, where an armed man attempted to gain entrance to a Trump rally. We have the Butler, Pennsylvania incident where Trump's ear was shut off, and then we have the golf course incident in Palm Beach, Florida, and these are all designed to foreshadow and set the precedent for a Trump-related assassination at a later date. Obviously, a foreign nation or Islamic terror group are always possibilities, and also a domestic America First anti-Semitic attack targeting Trump for supporting Israel, or some sort of transsexual or transgender related assassination event, as in Charlie Kirk, is also expected. Given that Donald J. Trump was diagnosed with venous insufficiency back on July 17th of 2025, some sort of medical related event targeting Trump is expected. He has publicly displayed a hand bruise, swollen ankles, trouble walking, and there have been incessant rumors of a heart attack, a pending heart attack or stroke. But recently, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Vanessa Trump, the first wife of Donald Trump Jr., Pam Bondi, and have all suffered a form of cancer. And then most recently, Tulsi Gabbard's husband was diagnosed with bone cancer. So Trump being assassinated under the guise of cancer or an undiagnosed cancer fatality is expected. There's also the possibility that the CIA will assassinate Trump in some sort of an attack. This could be a bombing, this could be a storming attack, this could be a poisoning attack, possibly by a foreign nation, such as China, Iran, or Russia. This could be a sniper attack, a coup d'etat, an overthrow of the government in which Trump dies, or some sort of nuclear, biological, chemical, or radiological event targeting Trump, either at the White House or a secondary location. Given that there is UFC Freedom 250 cage currently on the White House lawn, which is a rather tall structure, as well as the ongoing construction of the ballroom next door to the White House, some sort of construction-related accident is also expected. Obviously, a vehicular crash, a plane crash, a helicopter crash with Trump inside is also expected. There's also the high possibility that Trump will be suicided in some form or fashion, possibly under the guise of falling poll numbers, links to the Epstein files, the failure to negotiate a ceasefire or a resolution to the Iran war are also possibilities. There are literally hundreds of possibilities on which Trump could be neutralized, but what is important to remember is that CIA headquarters located in Eastern at Lake Geneva is going to assassinate, neutralize, or remove U.S. President Donald J. Trump from office prior to June 14th, because this event, and with the impending 250th anniversary of the United States on July 4th, they want to use this event at June 14th as the ceremony for J.D. Vance, and then J.D. Vance is going to grandstand during the World Cup finals, during the Olympics, and during the 250th anniversary. That is the president that Switzerland wants in office. It doesn't matter that the American people elected Donald J. Trump 3 times to office; they will remove him in some form or fashion prior to this date, because they want to essentially bring in J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance is going to launch a full-scale ground invasion of Iran. You can mark it down. That's going to happen as soon as he gets into office, and so he is being backed by the neocons to succeed Trump. Trump is trying to negotiate a peace deal with Iran, and that is going to be neutralized by Switzerland, who coincidentally the United States has to go through Switzerland in order to talk to Iran. There is no direct connection, despite the rhetoric and the media reports that are being published online. The United States has to go through Switzerland because Switzerland is home to the CIA, and they can have de facto control over every single nation on earth, including Iran. And so that is why none of these negotiations with Iran or Russia regarding the Russo-Ukrainian war or the ongoing Iran war ever amount to anything, is because ultimately Switzerland is going to sabotage it, and they have thus far been unsuccessful in sabotaging the presidency of Donald J. Trump, and they plan to do so by the date of June 14th of 2026, which is coincidentally Donald J. Trump's 80th birthday. And so this has been in the works for a very, very long time, and I believe that they will neutralize him in some form or fashion prior to this particular date. Like I said, it could be in the aftermath of an arrest, it could be an assassination plot, it could be a health-related issue, it could be under the guise of natural causes, dying in his sleep, it could be from some sort of blowback from the left, from the right, from Iran, from China, from Pakistan, from Russia, from Al-Qaeda. It doesn't matter, or some sort of accident or self-inflicted suicide. Those are the most likely scenarios, which I have published reports and videos ad nauseum about these events targeting a sitting U.S. president. So this is when we get to see how Switzerland and her Israeli Mossad, how they actually remove a sitting U.S. president. We get to see this in real time, transform before our eyes, similar to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, during which Trump was supposed to be assassinated, but due to timely reports and videos by yours truly, that was not possible. So they basically removed the patsy from the equation with the alleged shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Hilton Hotel. So this has been ongoing. This is a battle that has been being waged behind the scenes, and it's going to come to fruition by the date of June 14th, when the CIA finally neutralizes Donald J. Trump. I would venture to guess that out of all the aforementioned possibilities, the two single most likely are a self-inflicted suicide, so Trump is to blame for his own death, and then the second being some sort of health-related issue, that Trump's body failed him, so Trump is ultimately to blame, because Switzerland does not want this coming back on them. So they are going to do everything that they can in their power to make sure that this assassination does not come back on on themselves. So they are going to ultimately, I believe, if and when they decide to neutralize Donald J. Trump, they will do so in a manner which it appears that he is in fact responsible for his own death, either by taking his own life or by his body failing him in some form or fashion. I should note in closing that the aforementioned Susie Wiles, Vanessa Trump, Pam Bondi, and Tulsi Gabbard, also Jared Kushner has cancer, and Benjamin Netanyahu has cancer. Whether these cases are real or not, the CIA has the ability with directed energy weapons to basically burn a hole in somebody's heart, in their brain, in their lungs, and to basically give them an instant tumor. So cancer is essentially a directed energy weapon, and that will likely be leveled at Trump in some form or fashion. And in order to obfuscate the reports that I have published regarding all these different scenarios, they will likely come up with a new reason why Trump died, whether it's related to his previous COVID infection, or some other disease, which they will likely claim post-mortem he was failed to be diagnosed. And he just for the record here, he just visited this week. He visited Walter Reed Medical Hospital, and he was given once again a clear bill of health. So he is a 80-year-old almost 80-year-old healthy male, and there's no reason why he should die. But they are desperate to use this UFC event. UFC is the number one most watched sport in the world because it's international. Everybody loves fighting. And so this is going to be the coronation of J.D. Vance at this particular event. And this notion is corroborated by the fact that previously at UFC events, Donald J. Trump was flanked by Dana White and RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and members of his staff. So a future scenario in which J.D. Vance walks into UFC 250 on the White House lawn, flanked by all the Trump supporters, to basically to nominate him as the new head of MAGA and the new head of America. This is what they're planning to do. And with Donald Trump out of the way, this is the only way that this can happen. So I'm just going to state for the record that Donald J. Trump will no longer be president of the United States by the date of June 14th of 2026, and one J.D. Vance will be sworn in as president, as the 48th president of the United States by the date of June 14th of 2026. The numerology regarding J.D. Vance, he would be the 48th president of the United States. Israel, the apartheid and genocidal state of Israel, was founded in 1948, so they plan to, J.D. Vance is their horse, which they want to ride the United States into the apocalypse with a full-scale war with Iran, which will predictably draw Russia and China into war on behalf of Iran against the United States. So the United States will be likely in a three-front war within days or weeks after J.D. Vance is sworn in as president, and that is what the Zionist establishment has settled on. There's no reason why J.D. Vance is the vice president of the United States, in my opinion. I don't believe he's fit to serve, but regardless, he is the puppet that they plan to use to trigger World War III. And so, obviously, if that is indeed what their plan is, that they must remove Donald J. Trump in some form or fashion. And I believe that it will happen prior to UFC Freedom 250, which coincidentally is also Donald J. Trump's birthday, on the date of June 14th of 2026. So if this in fact does transpire in reality, as I am predicting in this video, I could kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.